All right, if you were watching Cutler tonight, you know the House just passed cap and trade, but better known as a multi-billion-dollar pollution tax. President Obama reacted just a few minutes ago.
Today, the House of Representatives took historic action with the passage of the American Clean Energy and Security Act. It's a bold and necessary step that holds the promise of creating new industries and millions of new jobs, decreasing our dangerous dependence on foreign oil, and strictly limiting the release of pollutants that threaten the health of families and communities and the planet itself. Now it's up to the Senate to take the next step.
Yeah, and I hope the Senate kills it like a dirty rat. Let's get some react from some of my guys. Radio host Greg Knapp, finance exec Sean O'Hara, Jeremiah McWilliams of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Peter Schiff, the mean guy at Euro Pacific Capital, and let's add another incendiary radio host, Steve Maltzberg. Guys, on this cap and trade, global warming, big business, first of all, devastating article, Wall Street Journal today by Kim Strassel, showing that the science community is beginning to divide all over again and think that global warming might be exaggerated. I see this entire thing, and I think the estimate is $635 billion over 10 years of new taxes on companies for doing what they've always done, which is they make stuff and it gives off some pollution. But it's just a way to get money to fund Obama's social programs. Steve, you're the new guy. Why don't we start with you?
Absolutely. There is no global warming, and more countries, as Kim pointed out in that piece, are starting to realize that. The Earth hasn't warmed for 10 years, and scientists have always been split right along the lines as to whether or not there's any validity to this, and there isn't. The people, you know, to your point, though, about the recession being over and consumer confidence, let me focus on consumer confidence.
No, I don't want you to do that yet, Steve. If you'll just bear with me, I want to hear the other guys first on cap trade, then we'll come back to you and start that off. Greg, what do you think of this latest House vote?
Well, absolutely, it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, they don't even call it global warming anymore because the Earth stopped warming in 1998. They call it climate change. Well, the climate's always changing. If we do everything in this bill, they say the best case scenario, we could decrease the increase in temperature by 0.18 degrees by 2100. Woohoo! Let's have a party.
Right.
It's going to cost 2 million jobs. It's going to cost $2 trillion. Everything you buy and use is going to cost more, and they're going to offset that with some kind of a payroll tax? Are you kidding me? In the middle of this recession?
Plus, Peter, you know what? Peter, Obama has very shrewdly billed this as a job creation bill, but we never look at the jobs that you will lose in the older energy industries, such as coal or petrol or oil.
Well, absolutely. You know, here I actually agree with you here. I don't know if that makes me mean or not, but the only jobs that they're going to create is jobs for bureaucrats. But those are unproductive jobs that the rest of us have to support. It's going to destroy productive jobs. I mean, even if our economy was in good shape, this bill is ridiculous. But given how bad our economy is right now, the fact that our leaders are this clueless, that they're going to try to cripple it with burdensome taxes and regulation, when we need to be as efficient as possible. We really need to rebuild our industry, not cripple it with this cap and tax nonsense.
Right. Okay, you know what? The cap and trade and tax nonsense is really making me depressed. So, Jeremiah, let's go back into my declaration that this recession is over. Let's just talk even about personal sentiment and how you feel. I feel less fear out there in the heartland in America. I feel like the risk of financial collapse around the world is off the table. We fixed it.
Well, Dennis, I always thought there was a huge disconnect between the talk of the apocalypse on Wall Street and what you see walking down Main Street in St. Louis or Atlanta or wherever you happen to be. I see people still going to the movies, still going to coffee shops. The airports in New York and D.C. seem just as crowded as they always were. So I feel like things were tough and are tough in the mainstream economy, but if you step outside the Wall Street bubble and the Washington bubble, you get a sense that consumer spending, for example, is pretty resilient. I think, as you mentioned, it's up.
Yeah,
it's a huge part of our economy.
I mean, look, the American public doesn't have a clue. You think they know that right from now, the Bush tax cuts are going to expire. Tax hike. Cap and trade, if that ever passes, devastating. Tax hike. Health care reform, if that passes, devastating. Tax hike. And that's just on the tax on the individual and the corporations. The result of the corporation tax hikes and all the restrictions will be more losses of jobs. Look, every month, hundreds of thousands of people are still losing their jobs. If the mainstream media would tell the people the truth about what's going on now and what they're facing in the immediate future with this legislation, consumer sentiment and consumer spending would be in the toilet.
Well, wait a minute. Where is the business community, though? Where are the big businesses? I mean, if that's the case, where are the big businesses that are pushing back? I don't see a whole lot of people
they're
willing
afraid
to get
to
their
speak
thumbs
up.
hit.
There's a problem. They are afraid to speak up because they've been silenced by the Democrats and by Obama. I mean, if you speak up now, they're going to yell at you for going to Las Vegas.
You know, we haven't fixed anything here. We put a Band-Aid on a cancer, but, you know, the payback for the stimulus is going to be runaway inflation and sky-high interest rates. And if you think the economy is weak now, wait till you see 10% mortgage rates and $5 gasoline.
You know, Dennis,
and then it's not going to stop there.
Hey, Dennis, let me help you, man. Let me be an optimist for just a second.
Somebody needs to jump in.
No, really. See, to me, I never believed it was quite as bad as they were telling us. And if we had just done the original TARP and really gotten rid of the toxic assets and just let everything else go, let the bankruptcies happen, don't bail people out, stop the stimulus, we'd be growing a real economy instead of another bubble economy. We're in a money bubble economy that we're growing right now. And here's the good part, Dennis. I agree with you that America's going to come out of this because we always do, because we are a great nation and great people.
Yes.
The problem is
everything
we've done is
just leave it right there. You agree with me and I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
Greg,
we
Sean,
came out of the Great Depression
Peter,
too.
Steve, we like the Brady Bunch.
We never had a leader like this whose purpose is to destroy the economy.
Shut him
and that's
down.
what he's doing.
All right, I got to go, guys. Thanks a lot. A little later, how to invest.